Hey guys, it is me again. The video I was wanting to make this evening is just about a couple things that I've seen, on the internet. I watch a lot of YouTube videos, as most of us probably do, that are on YouTube. I've been watching a lot here lately, and now this is going to be a gun-based video, which you'll probably be able to tell by the title. It's just a couple of the things that I see, and I was just going to comment on in the gun. Excuse me, knocked something off my desk. In the gun community, just a couple of points that I was wanting to, just kind of vent on, to give my opinion. My opinion is not worth much, but I was going to put it out there anyway. First thing is, how guys that are so brand myopic or so gun myopic over a gun. I mean, man, it's crazy. I never would have imagined. You got guys that or just brand or gun style myopic. Like, you got guys that have got 1911s, and they think a 1911 is the only gun made. And I don't own a 1911. I'm gonna buy one probably before the summer's out. My next gun that I'm going to buy actually probably is going to be a matter of fact, I got my gun dealer buddy looking for one right now, a SIG 229 Elite Dark. It's kind of a special edition 229. But anyway, after that, I think I'm gonna buy some kind of 1911. Now, I don't know what it's going to be yet. I don't know if it's going to be a $1,000 Kimber or a SIG, or or it may be a $400 Springfield. I don't know. I don't know yet. But anyway, what I'm getting at, man, I mean, it's just, guns. I like guns. I like all kinds of guns. I've got Glocks, I've got Rugers, I've got Smith & Wessons, I've got Walthers, I've got SIGs. Trying to think, I've got a Savage rifle. I've got a Stag AR-15. I like it. It's a cheaper AR-15, but I love it. Got a Ruger AR-15. Matter of fact, I need to make some videos on some of these guns. But, I've got all kinds of brands of guns. And guess what? I like them all. I like my Glocks, to be honest about it. And, I think even people that don't like them will have to admit that a Glock is probably one of the most reliable guns made. Probably is the most reliable gun made. Now, it's not pretty. It's nothing to look at. And my Smith & Wesson M&P, to be honest, is probably more accurate than either one of my Glocks. But what I'm trying to get at is just people that are so, I mean, I never seen the beat, as we say around here, is people just, people that like Glocks say everything else is junk, and people that don't like Glocks say Glocks are junk. People that like Smith & Wessons, like I said, guys, I like them all. And, I think that's the way. I don't know how people get so against one brand of gun or so for one brand of gun. Now, SIG, I love a SIG. I only own one SIG. It's a P220 Equinox. And to be honest, it's one of the finest firearms I've ever put in my hands. And that's the reason I'm getting her to buy another SIG. You can actually feel the money in this gun. It's a $1,200 gun retail, and you can feel every dime of it. That's one reason I'm wanting to buy a SIG. I'm wanting to buy one that I don't care about thrashing up as much. I don't want to get this one, in too bad a shape. But anyway, what I'm getting at, guys, just and leave me your comments. See what you guys think. That's just something I've noticed, and I don't know why we have to be like that. I don't know why we have to bash each other's guns and say this one's junk and that one's junk. I've seen a lot of people saying that the Smith & Wesson Sigma was a piece of crap. I bought one for actually one of my employees for a Christmas bonus. And I've shot it. It's got a little bit heavier trigger pull than I like, but great gun. It's a copy of a Glock, basically. It's a Glock with a real heavy trigger. But, I don't see anything wrong with these guns. And, I just don't know why we have to do that as a gun community. Why we have to bash each other's guns, say this gun's junk and that gun's junk. Now, I will admit, there's some guns that I wouldn't carry as a carry gun, to defend my life. I've not got my concealed carry permit back yet. I'm hoping it'll come any day. Would I trust my life to a high point? I don't know if I would or not. Am I saying a high point's junk? No, they're a cheaper gun. But when you get up into the good brand name guns, I don't know why we have to bash them, because they're all good. So that was my first point. Before I get in too long, I want to make my second point. Here in the last few days, I have seen so many gun videos of guys. I'm a mechanic. I've been a professional mechanic for 15 years, making a living, taking things apart and putting them back together, complicated things apart and putting them back together. And guys, there's some things on my guns that I don't like to do and that I don't do. And what I'm seeing a lot of here lately is people that, and no offense, I hope nobody takes offense to this, guys that, are not mechanically inclined, guys that'll get on it, they're making a video tearing their gun apart, gunsmithing on it themselves, and talking about, and pointing at the ejector and saying this little doohickey, or pointing at the firing pin safety and saying this little round thingamabob here. Man, that blows my mind. That we got guys on here, they'll watch a YouTube video and see somebody do it, and they'll say, well, I can do that. And it just blows me away. Guys, do we not realize how precision made that these guns are, and how they have to be exactly right? And they, like I said, I'm a professional mechanic and have been half my life. And even before I was doing it professionally, I was doing it, before that, when I was in middle school and stuff, I was already building racing engines when I was in 8th grade. And I'm not bragging on myself, but I'm saying I'm pretty mechanically sound. I think God gave me the talent, and He's turned that into most of the time a good living for me through this talent. And I still have things on guns that I won't do, or that if I do them, I feel iffy about them. And watching guys tear into guns, man, that don't have a clue what they're doing, that just makes me cringe, So, anyway, that was just kind of my little rant. I wanted to hit on those couple topics and see what you guys think, and just let me know your feedback. And I guess that's it. See you guys. Bye.